tiempo de dar inicio a nuestra agenda llena de conferencistas, líderes de pensamiento y gurús mundiales en innovación apasionados por compartirnos hoy sus experiencias. Queremos iniciar con uno de nuestros conferencistas principales. Él es el doctor Hitendra Patel, gurú y líder de pensamiento en innovación, director ejecutivo y fundador de iExcel Center, firma consultoría de gestión de innovación con sede en Cambridge. El doctor Patel ha ayudado a más de 200 empresas globales y a sus equipos de trabajo a impulsar iniciativas de transformación para desarrollar capacidades de innovación y lograr un nuevo crecimiento. Además, fue cofundador de la práctica de innovación Monitor Group. Fue gerente senior de Arthur D. Little y trabajó en Motorola en el área de energía portátil. Es dueño de 6 patentes y coautor de más de 6 libros de gestión de la innovación. Por favor, recibámoslo con un fuerte aplauso. Welcome, Dr. Patel.
Great. Good morning, everybody. That's not very good. Let's try again. Good morning, everybody. You need some more coffee, I think. Colombia's got the best coffee in the world. Get some coffee. What an inspiring speech this morning from the Chamber of Commerce, with Carlos, and then the speech given by the Vice Minister of Consciences. You can feel the innovation in Colombia. And we've been coming here for years. And the one thing I can tell you, whether I go to Brazil or I go to Oman or in Dubai or anything else, is the number of people who are talking about innovation in Colombia is far greater than any other place I've seen, number one. The second thing I've seen in Colombia, which just amazes me, is the number of women who are represented in leadership roles. You can go to Brazil, you can go to Norway, you can go to Sweden, and you'll see there are still just almost 80% men in leadership roles, while over here you see women really participating and leading the change. So this index that we talked about, I don't completely believe and trust those indexes. I believe that you guys are far ahead than people believe, but you built a talent, a capacity of people who can really make the change. Today, what I'm going to talk about to get this whole stage started is about how do we develop innovation, growth, leadership. That means you, individually. You individually, how can you start thinking really big, start believing that you could be like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, and start putting teams together to make it real, because there is no reason to believe today that Colombian companies and Colombian CEOs, Colombian entrepreneurs cannot compete with the Swedes, with the Americans, or with anybody else. So that's my 20 minutes. I'm going to try and inspire you into thinking in this way. So here's the real story. Right? This new technology is happening all the time. If you don't react to these technologies, then you are going to get in trouble. Green is here. You guys are right in the capital center of oil and gas. EcoPatrol has put a center of excellence over here for energy regeneration, but that trend is there. The second trend is digital. Digital is here, the world changes. 10, 15 years ago, we weren't using our phones for what we do today. The amount of change that's going through right now is much faster than we have ever seen before. Digital is changing everything. Similarly, robotics is coming. This robotics is going to change the way we work, our employee bases, but also our life and what we do. Everything's changing. And in that front, we also have the fact that health technologies are coming, and all these technologies are converged together. You, the CEO, you, the entrepreneur, you, the innovator, is probably asking, how do I manage all this change? But that question is being asked in the US, that question is being asked in Europe, it's been asked in Dubai, and they're all not sure what to do with it. They all know this change is happening, but they're unsure. So we need to somehow unfreeze ourselves. The second part of this changing world that's going on, and it's happening everywhere. The Gen Zs are here. You know the Gen Zs. These are the young kids who were just a couple of years ago playing with the phones. They are now in the workforce. They're getting married. They got kids. They're entering the world, and you baby boomers and others and millennials, all you millennials, it's not your game anymore. These are the new people coming, and they're demanding change. That change creates opportunity, but it also creates threats, right? Similarly, this is something that's going to happen. Silver economy, the baby boomers are going to be here, and they're going to live for another 20 years. We have never, ever built anything for the silver economy. Old people, we make them disappear in the houses. We don't see them again. But these guys are going to come out and say, where's my car? Where's my restaurant? Where's my social environments? Where's my dignity? This is a big group coming. The world is changing. Are you ready for that? Globalization is here. All of you use the same cell phones. Samsung, Apple. All of you are driving the same sort of cars. We've all probably watched the same Netflix show last week, whether you are in Dubai, in London, or in Boston over here. We are global. Your ideas over here are useful for anybody, anywhere in the world. We can scale out from here, right? And then, of course, there's an opportunity here which is happening in the United States of Latin America. The United States is about to become a Latin country. This is this century. It's a different country than what it used to be. Latin America moves further north from Mexico into the United States now. These are trends, and if you don't respond to these trends, game over. You have to respond to them. So again, CEOs are worried. You guys should be worried about what we should do. But there are people who worry about these things and say, what do I do? And freeze up. But not these guys. What did these guys do whenever there was an opportunity as the world changed? The word is carpe diem. Make that your word right now, carpe diem. Seize the moment. These moments don't come along, but you have the moment now with digital, robotics, green. And in this moment, if you seize it and you lean forward, guess what? You might be able to create the next big, exciting future right here in Cartagena or right here in Colombia, right? So it's for you to seize the moment. These guys did it. You know who they are. Steve Jobs, Tesla, South African guy, Elon Musk. All these guys, they seized the moment. And you might ask yourself, but those guys are special. They're not me. These guys are really special, and that's not true. They do sit in that 2% or 1% of the population. They're exceptionally hardworking and smart. Are you hardworking and smart? Of course you are. Do you have ambition? Of course you do. So what's the difference between these guys and you guys? Right? And when you guys were little kids, you remember when you were little kids? You imagined going to the moon. You imagined writing a book. You imagined exploring things. And you remember that those dreams were there, and you said, I want to be special. I want to be different. So what happens between kids and then you get to adults? Somewhere along the way, we lose it. We lose it, and obstacles come along, and you start not aiming high, but you start aiming for what is doable, what's possible. And that's not innovation. Innovation is not aiming for what's doable. Innovation is aiming for what appears impossible. And if you start thinking this way, then you might be able to do something amazing. Many of you CEOs, when you started your company, that's what you expected. That's what you expected for your growth. Your business was going to go up, and that business was going to keep on growing because you will need to innovate. Innovate, why? Because the market changes. Innovate, why? Because the technology changes. And those things are both threats if you don't innovate, but tremendous opportunities if you do. But the reality was, this is what happens to many companies, right? And that is what really happens, and people start saying, maybe I'll just aim for average. I'll just aim for average. Thousands of small, medium-sized companies. There are about close to 300,000-400,000 small businesses in this country who all started saying, I will be a big company. And somewhere along the way, reality hits and they go flat. So what do? We have to make those people start believing that they can actually become the Steve Jobs and the Bill Gates and all that. So the key message for all of you is I want you to start aiming higher. Right? If you aim low and you achieve it, what results do you get? Low results. But if you aim high, and even if you miss the results, you're still going to be higher than aiming low. So aim high, right? And if you aim high and you get the results, maybe your picture will be with Steve Jobs and Elon Musk and somebody else, right? And then you need to find a way to make it real. So aim high and make it real. This is the two simple messages that we want to start off with. But I'm not starting off with employees of companies. I'm starting off with CEOs of companies. This is a message to the leaders of the companies. What happened is, if we can get one CEO to think this way, that would be quite amazing. But what if we got 1,000 CEOs? 1,000 CEOs in Colombia to all start resetting the targets to aim higher. 1,000 CEOs to aim higher. What change will happen in those companies? To aim higher will require more ideas. Those more ideas will create more projects. Those more projects will create more opportunities, and eventually your growth will start again. So what if we could train 1,000 CEOs? And I'm talking to the Chamber of Commerce. I'm talking to the Ministry of Science. I'm talking to Ecopatrol. I'm talking to all of you guys. What if we could train 1,000 CEOs to aim higher? And in that aim higher, feed the growth through innovation. Wouldn't that be amazing? Well, what would be that impact? CEOs would imagine a bigger vision for themselves, whether it's social justice, what the Minister of Science talked about, whether it's a green economy, whatever that vision is, every CEO aims for that. To get there, standard rules can be applied. What platforms will you use to get there? What projects and portfolios you'll work on, and partners. This is what Steve Jobs did. This is what Zuckerberg did. This is what Elon Musk did. They all had a vision up there. They had a platform. They had a portfolio of projects they were trying, and they had partners. The recipe is simple. It's hard to implement, but the recipe is simple. What if every CEO in Colombia has got a plan which says, I'm going to aim higher, I'm going to have a platform for growth, I'm going to have partners to do this? Wouldn't that be cool? So the story I want to share with you is this is exactly what Brazil did. Brazil's SEBRAE is for small business associations. And they said, we got lots of small businesses. We've been investing in startups for a long time. Startups are not returning the returns. We want to invest in small businesses where there are CEOs already who are entrepreneurs, who know how to hire and fire, who know how to make and sell, who know how to do marketing and finance. They are already good entrepreneurs. What if we were to take the CEOs and inspire them to aim higher and inspire them to do more? This program was 1,000 people together, 1,000 companies, and 2,000. It was done 2 times in a row already, and they want to go from 1,000 people trained to 2,000 to eventually 10,000 CEOs. If 10,000 CEOs together aim high, I just want you to think about it. And only 10% actually succeed statistically. How big is that? They already have assets, they got everything else. So, this is what the program design was. How do you make people entrepreneurs and innovators? And the idea is you intersect 2 disciplines together. One discipline is about being able to imagine the future. And this is all about innovation and entrepreneurship. The Global Innovation Management Institute helps with that. On the other side, we said you have to be disciplined and structured, and you got to execute. That's the management consulting industry of McKinsey and BCG. You brought it together and said that's what leaders should be doing. And that program was put structurally out there for everybody to think about. And in that program, leaders were taught to be ethical. So the choices they made and the visions they had were about social justice inclusive, but also aiming high. It was about leaders who could take advantage of the strengths, like President Kennedy when he talks about putting a man on the moon. That's a vision. It's about Elon Musk types of things, which he says, why can't we go to Mars? Why not? Setting a vision. That's what you have to do. And then he talked about platforms. Platforms on how to make it real. Steve Jobs had a vision, but he also had a platform. Platform means partners. Platform means many things together that allows you to do just not the iPod, but the iPhone, the iPad, the iBicycle, the iCar, the iVacation. That I is the platform. It talked about portfolio of projects, ideas of how Pepsi does it. And then you look at cities like Dubai where there's execution. These guys basically choose projects and they get things done. So these are all people who were just like you and me. They were young and they were little kids. And as little kids, they probably imagined that they could have an amazing future. But they continued pursuing it. When we ran this program in Brazil, 1,000 people were asked, why can't you be like Steve Jobs? You know what they said? Do I have the right to have a vision? Think about this. They asked the question, do I have the right to aim like Elon Musk or anybody else? Who said you can't? You decided not to. You decided not to have this vision that was not that high up. And therefore, the thing is, if you imagine, and then you talk about it, and then you put teams together, you can do amazing things. This story of the code breakers is the story of the vaccine. Who would have imagined during COVID-19 it would take less than 9 months to be able to get to a vaccine? This woman got a Nobel Prize for it. It's their story, how they coordinated a vision to be able to do this, bring teams together, and to make it real. If you ask her, when she was a little kid, at 10 years old, she was no different than every one of us. But she didn't lose the dream. Our objective together is to get each one of you to start aiming higher. The higher you aim, the more it requires to do things different than what you were doing yesterday, because what you're doing yesterday can make you okay today. But if you are aiming high, you'll have to do things different. When you do things different, that's called innovation. When you do something different, that's the beginning of innovation. And then when you get the results, that's what makes a big difference in what you have to do. So, my goal today is to leave behind this message. What if we did this in Colombia? What if we got 10,000 companies, CEOs to believe that they are special? What if we made them believe that whatever target they've chosen is too low, but aim higher? What if we could make them choose a higher target? And what if we asked them to put resources and people behind it? What will Colombia look like 5 years from now? It's only about choosing the future that we want. We are working with the Chamber of Commerce, we're working with the Ministry of Science, we're working with many people, and we would like to see, first and foremost, not working from the company perspective, but company starting with the leadership perspective. If the leaders choose, the company will follow. If you're a CEO, aim higher. If you're not a CEO, tell your CEOs to aim higher. If they aim higher, then what we'll do is do things differently. Your people will have to read more books. They'll have to travel the world to get ideas from outside in. And trust me, those who put energy into innovation and innovation activity get great results. So I'm going to leave this final message with you. Today, talk to people. Get inspired. But walk away with the objective of aiming higher. Walk away with the belief that you are not any different than Elon Musk or any different than Steve Jobs or anybody else. They aim high, they're dedicated to innovation, they work hard, and they work in teams. Thank you very much.